Well, I've just cleared this bed and I'm going to put strawberries in it. It did have originally spinach and then Asian greens and Tokyo cross turnips and radishes in that bed, and spinach and then lettuce and then salad onions in that bed. So it's been pretty productive. It's pretty dry, so I've had to give it quite a lot of water, and it's all ready now for prep. So I've just watered in some bloodfish and bone meal, which is my preferred fertiliser for carrots. It depends a lot, fertilising carrots, on what your ground is. In my case, my ground is just sand. So, you know, the carrots go down, they're basically straight into sand, and there's very little nutrients in sand. So I always give them bloodfish and bone, and then I'm going to mulch over with compost. I'm actually using new compost that I've never tried before. So I'm kind of quite intrigued to open those bags and see what it's like. But people tell me it's quite fine, and it's what our allotment gets delivered as standard, and they actually keep it on site, so it's really convenient. I like a nice fine compost. What I normally use is my spent potato compost. I'm just harvesting a load of potatoes at the moment, so I could use that, but I'm just going to try this out and see what it's like, just as I say, because if it works, it'll be very convenient. And as you can see, I'm growing in light shade. So right now it's full shade, but it's, you know, we do get quite a lot of sun early in the morning, we get a little bit of sun in the afternoon, late afternoon. So I class it as light shade, and so I need to give the carrots quite a long time. If I were sowing in full sun, I'd probably put them in June. But these are my storage carrots. I want them to come ready in October. In October, I cut the tops off with scissors, put a cold frame top on here, and in between the carrot rows I plant lettuce or spinach or, you know, something for spring basically, and it works really well. I keep continuously harvesting them all the way through winter, and all pretty much to the end of April. By the time I get to end of April, they're very likely to go to seed, and I need the bed for something else, like it'll probably be something like this, red cabbages or something. So that's the theory. Let's get on with the practice. So, as promised, is very fine grade. It's going to dry out really quickly, but that's not too big an issue because I'm only using it for a mulch, and yeah, I'll obviously have to keep it fairly well watered, but it's fairly moist at the moment, and it's got plenty of lumps in it, but I can easily break those up. So I'm going to get this prepared, and then we'll get on with some sowing. Well, I don't think I've ever made such a beautiful seed bed. This compost is super fine. I did once use soil, graded topsoil, as my seed bed for carrots, but it turned out to be full of weeds, so that was a really bad mistake. And but this is really lovely stuff. Well, that's the theory anyway. The grade is really lovely. We'll see how everything germinates in it. I'm just making my drills with this little piece of wood, and I'm just making a trough really, and I'm just making it slightly deeper in the middle, and I'm making it about 1 centimetre deep, and I'm going to plant the seeds about an inch apart, I think, because the drills are quite wide. There's plenty of space for them to push each other apart and make room. So the theory is, you know, to read like every gardening book, it says only water the drill and then fold the dry compost over the top. But the reason for that is because most gardeners back in the day were just planting directly into the soil with no compost mulch, no weed-free compost mulch. So they were doing whatever they could to try and minimise weeds coming up, and if they did come up, they wanted them to not come up anywhere other than where they've planted the carrots, because that's inevitable, because obviously you watered that in order for the carrots to germinate. But when you're using a weed-free mulch like this, it doesn't really matter. You can water after you've sown, and obviously I've already watered the ground as well, so it's nice. But I want the whole of the top layer of compost above the carrots to be watered as well, not just the drill. And I have, although I do say it myself, really good carrot germination. So I'm putting my seeds in, as I said, at the target density, and I'm doing that because I've already done a germination test and I know that they germinate pretty well. So hopefully should be no need for thinning. These are pelleted seeds, so they are slightly easier to put in at the target density, but they're not that easy. You just have to be super careful, and obviously sometimes you're going to drop 2 in, and you can either not worry about it, or you can do what I do, which is sort of just pick up a little twig or something like that and just off the floor, and then just move it around to the right place. And so you probably come across a couple of issues. One is that your drills are not uniformly deep, and if you find that part of the drill is a bit too shallow, I just poke the seed in a little bit deeper so that it's at my target depth, which is about 1 centimetre deep or thereabouts. I mean, maybe it's 15 millimetres in places, but certainly a minimum of 1 centimetre deep, especially at this time of year. Now, I can get away with that because I come down here most evenings now to water, so I can water this carrot bed pretty much every night, and so I can keep the seeds moist. Carrot seeds really like to be kept moist, although I've heard some people say that they don't. Honestly, I've never managed to germinate carrot seeds unless I've kept them nice and moist, so I would stick with that advice. Just treat them like you do your parsnips, and I would expect from this bed that I will get somewhere in the region of 90% germination, which is just fine. I don't mind the odd gap. If I get less than that and I get some significant gaps, then I will come back later and sow a few more seeds. But it's very rare that I have to do that. There's a couple that aren't quite deep enough there, so I'm just poking those in a little bit more. So it's a precision process, but it's worth it because carrots are a really, really important crop for us. I eat carrots not at least, just twice a day, although I might snack on them on the allotment as well. So I need to grow a lot. This is my second bed. The first bed is for sort of late summer really, and early autumn, and then this bed's for winter and spring. But I always end up with a gap, so no carrots in May and June and early July, or even the whole of July, if I just have 2 beds. So to solve that problem, I start some carrots in the polytunnel in containers in October, towards the end of October, and move them outside in early April. Otherwise there's a good chance I'll end up getting mildew unless you're really rigorous with the way that you water them. And yeah, and so those are the carrots we're eating right now. I'll just show you some of those. They're quite small, but perfectly formed, as they say, and certainly giving us some great little carrots for cooking and for salads. Whereas these that I'm doing now, these will be nice big carrots. Although, you know, occasionally where I've got them a little bit closer together, then we'll get a few small carrots as well, and they're lovely in the salads. So final thing, or probably not final, but I like to leave my carrots in the ground, and that means they get a frost on them, and they just keep beautifully in the ground. You know, the quality doesn't degrade like it would if you stored them in sand or compost, and yeah, they stay alive. They're lovely all year, all through winter and well into spring. But that does mean you've got to kind of have slugs under control, and if you have a hard frost, it does mean that you've probably got to give them some protection. I just, as I say, use a cold frame top. I've never lost a carrot to frost. Certainly not Eskimo, which are what these are, which are a slow going carrot, but they're, as I say, super sweet in winter and hold really well, really hardy to frost, really nice sort of dense carrot as well. So that is it, they're all sown. So now I just fold the compost over the carrots. And I've marked the rows. And when I'm folding the compost, I am trying to make sure that I'm covering them again to an even depth. And then just like to give them a good water. And I'll just show you some that I did earlier. And as you can see, they need weeding now, but I'm kind of resisting doing any weeding right now because this is kind of peak carrot fly time here. So I'll probably leave it for another couple of weeks, and then carrot fly will be subsiding just a touch, and I won't mind taking the nets off. So I've just tamped the bed down with a rake now, just to make sure there's no high spots. And I'm just going to put a net on, not to protect from carrot fly right now, just a temporary net, because of birds and hedgehogs and foxes coming and wanting to dig around in this nice new bed, as they always want to. So yeah, just a nice quick stretchy Envirotect net that's easy to work with. And I will probably, every time I water it, maybe take that net off as well, because it's easy to get spots where you water, where you get lots of water, and then dry spots when you're watering through a net. Well, it's been a few weeks and I am back suitably humbled now, because my precision sowing worked out lovely in some places, but really grotty in others, and so I've got to re-sow. And it's interesting really that it's like this part of the bed is really bad and this part of the bed is really good. What's the difference? I don't, honestly, I'm not really sure. Anyway, I'm going to weed it, and then, as I say, I'm going to have to re-sow some of this half of the bed. How disappointing. But it's not too bad. When I look at that side of the bed, it's absolutely perfect. So there was nothing at all wrong with the seeds. The seeds were great. I would say probably there was nothing really wrong with the compost, but there was something wrong either with the way I tamped it down or with the way I watered it. I don't know, on this side of the bed. Weird, really weird. So I hope you can see where I'm making these little indentations with my finger. These are all the spots where I've got to re-sow. It's bad. I've weeded it though. I've got it all nicely weeded. I've got the potatoes out. There was only 2 of them, so that wasn't too bad. I was slightly worried that there would be more than that. And then of course I realised that there was something different between this side of the bed and that side of the bed. Different bags of compost, the same brand of compost from the same delivery, but you know, there can be differences between one bag and the next. You know, one bag could easily be from a different batch with slightly different ingredients, different age, who knows. I've actually used this compost for seed sowing and it was really rubbish because it mats up really badly on the surface, because it's basically like really fine shredded wood is a lot of what's in this compost. I'm not using it again, and of course this mat of wood is quite difficult for the seeds to push through, but I mean they have all, well, on that side of the bed they have all managed to push through it. So whether this side matted up a little bit more for some reason and not every seed managed to make it, I don't know. Anyway, it's a bit fiddly, but I shall get that resown. But I mean, when you look at that side of the bed, as I say, almost every seed popped up. And I'm not actually going to, I don't need to thin this all because it's all exactly to my planting density. And I'm not going to fill the gaps down there either, because it's nice to have a mix of sort of small and big carrots, so that isn't an issue in a few spots. And so this time, having learnt a bit about the compost, I'm not going to tamp it down. I'm just loosely folding it over, and I'll just let the watering settle it around the seeds instead, and hopefully this sowing will be more successful. And I'll let you know in a further update. I'll publish this video though, because I think I've shown enough that the technique that I use was 100% successful, almost, like 95% in that bed. I also neatly demonstrated that there are a lot of variables in gardening, and no matter how much you think you've got everything nicely refined, you can easily be humbled. My name's Steve. This is the Outgrow YouTube channel, and I'll see you soon.